All right, let's move
Yeah.
on to second chances. We'll just go one for one here, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'm going to start us off with Chuba Hubbard. And the reason I want to give him a second chance, let me just point this out. And I know the first two names I have are very ugly. Not good. Booty, some may say. Chuba Hubbard.
Kenny Booty.
uh,
Uh,
He has a huge Week 13 game against the Rams, 17 for 83, 4.8 yards per carry, 2 receptions for 41 yards, and a touchdown, finishing RB5 on the week. Then after the bye week, it's rough. 9 opportunities in Week 15, then 7 per game, weeks 16 through 18. But then, when it mattered most for Carolina in their playoff game versus the Rams, of which they should have been demolished, it's not Rico Dowdle that they turn to. Nay, it's Chuba Hubbard. Rico Dowdle had 7 total opportunities in that playoff game, whereas Hubbard had 17 total opportunities. Yes, for only 59 total yards, but he did have 2 touchdowns. I'm not saying that I'm guaranteeing that he's 100% the bell cow back going forward for them. But I do believe that with the contract that he signed less than a year and a half ago for $33.2 million, $15 million fully guaranteed as a 3 or 4 year contract, that he will be given the chance again to lead this backfield next season, to start the year bare minimum as their RB1. So Chuba Hubbard, I believe, deserves that second chance going into next season. Ben, who's your first guy?
yeah, so I got a. I mean, look, he's a rookie. All right, heading into next year. I mean, not he's not a rookie heading into next year, but rookie this year. Really expecting big things from him. It was already in a crowded receiving room, but we thought he would make the step of them finally drafting a receiver, a true number one receiver, because they have a lot of strong number twos and number threes. And you think I know where I'm going with this? I'm gonna go with Matthew Golden. All right,
Hold on,
I
hold
have
on. I
been.
thought you were going there,
Yeah,
but you were out. You were out.
I am. I am. And so heaven forbid a man can change, all right? But
That's what a good
I'm
dynasty
only
manager does, fantasy manager, is have the ability to change their mind.
hey, look, benefit. He is again a rookie. He's young, and look, it is a crowded receiving room. However, I think with LaFleur's job kind of in flux, if he's going to be let go, I don't think he will. I think he will continue um, being the coach there. But he may want to try to implement something, maybe just like a higher percent of the offense, like a passing offense, because Josh Jacobs, Mr. Questionable Tag himself, always on the injury report. If Emmanuel Wilson can somehow step up into that running game. But I think with the passing game, he wants to see more with Jordan Love. And I think Jordan Love's going to have a lot to prove next year if he's really going to be that franchise caliber quarterback that we all think that he is or he could be, or depending on your point of view. But with Romeo Dobbs set to hit free agency, if he does decide to leave, then I think that's going to open up, Golden's upside, because he scored his first touchdown when the game mattered most in this playoff. His first touchdown of the season came in the last game of the year. But he had 70 fantasy points in PPR, 29 catches on 44 targets with 361 yards. Those are not good numbers, but in the grand scheme of things, it is a very crowded wide receiver room with already established
Yep.
weapons, like Jaden Reed, even though he was hurt, Romeo Dobbs, and then you had Tucker Kraft, taking over a crap ton of targets away. So again, it is crowded, but for a bounce back player or for a prime buy low candidate right now, that's where I'm viewing this as. I'm viewing this as a get him low while you can. He may take another year or two to actually be a reliable starter. However, heading into next year, depending on if Dobbs if he leaves and if Tucker Kraft can come back from his injury fully healthy, I think the door he's Golden has an avenue to produce at not a high level, probably, a wide receiver 3 value, on a
Okay.
weekly basis. Maybe strong wide receiver 2, depending on, the matchups. But I think as of right now, he ended the season on a strong note. And maybe the coaching staff, especially LaFleur, will be like, hey, let's get this guy involved. Let's get Jordan Love involved. Jordan Love is like, hey, I have this guy that we drafted fairly high. We're not going to draft any other receivers. So let's see what we can do. So I'm buying low on Matthew Golden. I have I know a few weeks ago I've been off of him. But that was pretty much for the yearly. But however, his value is probably at an all-time low. So, and I think he's a prime candidate to bounce back for next year.
I love it. I love that take. Let me ask you this question before I move on to my second guy. Would you say that his opportunity, going into next season is golden?
We're going up. Great song, by the way.
Some say. My next guy here.
Playlist.
Of course you do, Ben. I wouldn't expect anything less. Going into my second guy here, I will say, yes, like I said, my first two guys, ugly names. Some may not like it. The second one, definitely Boutte. It's Kayshon Boutte. He averaged 16.7. Do you like that? I'm trying to work in some good segues here, for the show. New year.
Well, yeah, go back to the drawing board.
Will do. Kayshon Boutte, he averaged 16.7 yards per catch during the regular season. And honestly, had an up and down year. But the yards per catch is promising. The opportunities in the past season is strong. 4 for 4 for 66 yards is not bad in this playoff game. Very efficient. I'm just scared going into year 4 with his best year so far. You can choose what metric you like more. Do you like more yards or do you like more touchdowns? Because 2 years ago, he had 589 yards for only 3 touchdowns. This past season, he had 551 yards for 6 touchdowns. At age 23, soon to be 24, it reminds me a lot of Nico Collins. The first year for Boutte, he only played 5 games. He had injuries, so we can just consider that to be a wash. If you want to consider this to be his 3rd full year in the NFL going into 2026, you can do that. For all intents and purposes, Nico was nothing his first 2 seasons in the NFL, never eclipsing even 500 yards his first 2 seasons. Each season he had less than 500 yards, but then it was that 3rd season, the big boom of 1,297 yards, 16.21 yards per catch, and 8 total touchdowns. And he never looked back. Could we see that trajectory for Boutte with Drake May? Kyle Williams isn't panning out the way I thought he would. He didn't even have the late season anything like I thought he would. And again, when it matters most, they're not going to Kyle Williams. They're not going to Douglas. They're going to Kayshon Boutte and Stephon Diggs. So could we see Boutte? Could we see the LSU product emerge going into 2026 and into a contract year for him and with an MVP caliber quarterback? Possibly. I'm not going to say 100%, but I would say it's definitely deserving of a second chance, a second look at him, if you will. Ben, who's your second guy?
So my second guy right now might be a little bit of a safe pick. He may correlate, with people giving up on him, at least in that first half of the season, and well as his first 3-4 seasons in the league. But he ended on such a strong note. Does that mean he's going to reproduce? I'm talking about Kyle Pitts. All right, so he's got into the season strong. Okay, a lot of people were giving up on him. Middle of the season, if not had already given up on him, just with the lack of production, lack of quarterback play, really that has been hurting him. But he ended the season with 211 fantasy points, 88 catches on 119 targets, almost 1,000 yards, sitting at 928 with 5 touchdowns. So he dominated without Drake London. All right, we already saw. Everyone knew he eliminated almost everyone single-handedly in the playoffs. Depending on, when your playoffs started, but good God almighty. I mean, I don't know what drugs he was taking to go off, but I mean, 166 yards, 3 touchdowns, 11 catches for 45 points. I mean, come on. So his fantasy points without Drake London were amazing. I think with now Raheem Morris out of there, I think the head coach, whoever they get, whether it's Harbaugh, Stefanski, a- anyone else, QB from Seattle if he decides to leave, I think they have the three-headed monster there: Bijan Robinson, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts. Now, will big question mark is will Atlanta use the franchise tag on
Words.
him? A big or is he going to get a big free, a big contract? Is he going to have a new quarterback? That it's a lot of question marks right now. But he ended the season strong, similar to Golden in the sense of, I mean, I know Golden ended the season strong with one good game. Kyle Pitts ended the season strong with back to back about 4 or 5 game stretch, especially without Drake London. So you see how good he can be, and whether that's Kirk Cousins being the veteran quarterback, targeting his players, whether it's Penix just tossing the ball, even though I know he got hurt halfway through the season. I think Pitts is still primed for it's always give Pitts one more year, give Pitts one more year, give Pitts one more year. And right now, I'm saying give Pitts one more year. I think as
Yeah.
of right now, I probably put him at tight end number 5 or tight end number 6 for Dynasty,
Okay.
just with the lack of depth at that position. But age is still on his side. He's got no one to worry about who's going to usurp him. Just depending on what to do with the quarterback situation, I'm very interested to see what they do if they want Penix back. If Kirk Cousins, I think he may have one more year left on his deal. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think Kyle Pitts is due for one more year of a great. Actually, hopefully we can have a consistent, full on year where he can start strong, continue going strong, and finish strong. So
Love it.
we're gonna see. I know the question marks is the quarterback deal, and if he's gonna somehow, if they franchise tag him, it's like, oh no, I want my deal, and he may sit out, but I think Pitts knows he's like, end of the season strong. Let me have one good year, and then get a contract in 2 years' time. So Kyle Pitts. You may have to trade a lot for him right now because again, he's Matthew Gold. He's the opposite of Matthew Golden. Matthew Golden's a buy low. Kyle Pitts is probably a prime sell high candidate.
Yeah, for sure.
See what you can get for him. I think he is a prime sell high, but I still begrudgingly believe Kyle Pitts will have a consistently great season next year.
Yeah, I mean, and I want to go back to your Matthew Golden take. It reminds me a lot of we've seen this in recent years with the likes of Amon-Ra St. Brown, Rashee Rice, these players who they don't really do too good until the tail end of the season, and then it's that next year. I mean, we saw it with Jackson Smith and Jigba. I'm not saying that Matthew Golden is the talent of those players, but we do see that with this late season surge, does that mean that, going into the next season, now all those players I just mentioned, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Rashee Rice, Jackson Smith, and Jigba all had multiple games at the end of the season, whereas Matthew Golden, it's just that one. But it goes back to what you said. He was such an early pick for them. The first round wide receiver they've drafted in, was it nearly 2 decades? I can't remember. It's been a long time. And so anyway, love that take. My third one here is a receiver. Go ahead and roll your eyes, Ben. Go ahead. Get it out of the way. Roll your eyes. Do it. Go ahead. Let me see it. There we go. It's Brian Thomas Jr., okay?
I knew you were going to do that.
This is with the hope. I'm going to put a caveat here, a little asterisk mark, if you will, for the English majors out there, which I am not. Brian Thomas Jr. This is with the hope that he's out of Jacksonville whoa, I said that weird. Jacksonville. Really showing where we're from there.
Jackson.
Come on down to Dalton, Georgia, why don't you? This is with the hopes that he's out of Jacksonville this offseason, okay? His numbers were less this season, yes. 707 yards and 2 total touchdowns. But his efficiency metrics were nearly identical to that incredible rookie season. 9.6 yards per target 2 years ago, 7.7 yards per target this season. 14.74 yards per catch 2 years ago, 14.73 yards per catch this year. So while he's seen his role literally nearly cut in half, 87 receptions 2 years ago, 48 receptions this year. I mean, almost cut in half. Seriously. His ability and efficiency is still there. I mean, in the playoffs, he was 2 for 2 He only got 2 opportunities, but he made the most of them, 21 yards and a touchdown in the playoffs. Efficient, but lacking opportunities. There's clearly something going on with the organization and him. I don't know what it is, but there is something there. I refuse to believe that his rookie season is the outlier. The skill set, his efficiency and ability is all still there. It is all still there. He just needs to be in a place that will take advantage of that skill set. And I'm going to go back in on him and give him that second chance that he deserves going into 2026. Listen, I'm still a believer in Brian Thomas Jr. I believe even though his role was diminished nearly in half in 2025, that ability, that skill set, and his efficiency is crazy. His efficiency is super high. And with the ability that he has and the skill set that he has, if he can just get out of Jacksonville, I believe we're going to see that rookie season all over again. I don't think staying in Jacksonville you alluded to it earlier in the show. They got Jakobi Meyers, who it really wasn't his fault, that final play. Listen, could there have been other options that Trevor Lawrence went to on that play? Maybe. I haven't seen all the routes. But I do know that Jakobi Meyers is that possession receiver. He threw it to a guy who was smothered, okay? The defense made a great play, popped the ball up, and the game was over. It was just a great defensive play. I don't think it was necessarily a terrible offensive play, but you got Jakobi Meyers there. Parker Washington's the real deal. Travis Hunter's going to be coming back. I don't think Brian Thomas Jr. needs to stay in Jacksonville, and we already knew before the trade deadline hit. It was hours before it hit. That weird notification that came to all of our screens that Jacksonville's looking to trade him, and then it wasn't even an hour later that they were like, no, actually, we're not. We're going to keep him. There's something there. So I'm going to give him another chance going into 2026, so long as he gets out of Jacksonville. Ben, who's your last guy?
Yeah, I think Brian Thomas, we're gonna see how my views on him, as I changed my views on Golden, so maybe I can change my views on Brian Thomas, but that is remain to be seen. So you can have him. I'll take the first rounder from you.
I'll give you Kyle Pitts for Brian Thomas Jr.
Deal. So my next guy is going to be Ricky Pearsall. He is currently at 89 fantasy points of the year, 36 catches on 53 targets for 528 yards. He has been riddled with injuries this year, as what seems to be the whole San Francisco 49ers team, apparently. The thing I love about Ricky right now is there's really no room for competition after this year, because you got to look. I don't know what's going on with Brandon Ayuk. Apparently, he's distanced himself from the 49ers. I think after signing that deal, it's just... I think
they voided his money, by the way. So he don't even get the money for this season and any season after. They voided his money.
Yeah, so I think he's more than likely. I think he's going to be gone. I think they don't want to work with him, and even if he does come back, I just don't think he's. Maybe Shanahan's going to be a petty guy and just be like, hey, you can come back. I'm going to give you maybe one target a game. I'm going to drop a play for you just to get one opportunity. But the thing I like most is Brock Purdy is playing really, really great ball lately. I think Juwan Jennings is a great gadget player. Obviously, seeing that throw that he had to Christian McCaffrey against your Eagles, it was very, very good. But I like Ricky because with all those factors, and on top of that, George Kittle is going to be gone for a majority, if not all, of season next year. He may even retire. I don't know. That man is just up and down all around.
Sad. Very sad.
It is. It sucks to see that this late into the season. Especially in the postseason, especially with your team winning. You're not going to be able to, help them anymore. But I think with Kittle going out, Juwan Jennings, again, he's been great for them. I think he would probably be the wide receiver one there. The whole Ayuk situation, if he's gonna play with the team, is he gonna be traded? What's gonna happen? I'm really liking the opportunities that I think Ricky is going to get. And we're going to see a lot of that because he was limited yesterday. So we're going to see what he can do in the playoff game this week. But unfortunately, he's against that stingy Seahawks defense. So I know that's going to be very, very tough sledding for him. I think if he can get over the quote unquote injury bug that it appears that he's been he's been having.
Didn't he get shot in the chest?
Oh, I did not even mean to do. Yeah, you did. I didn't even put two and two together. That was perfect timing on that.
Oh man, that's good.
But
that's good.
All that being said, yes, he did get shot. But apparently, like the bullet like hit his chain, and so he was he was good man. So I think he's he's a prime candidate for me. I think he's to start off the season. He'll probably have wide receiver maybe 4 value in an already depth and extended position in football, but he's sitting at age 25, 26 right now. Brock Purdy's been playing at a very high level. I think he has the ability and skill set. I think that we've seen he has shown flashes on these before, and he can also be that gadget player of doing a little, couple of jet sweeps and whatnot. So I think the opportunities are going to be there for Ricky next year. I think his value is depending on the game that he has this weekend, because I know everyone's going to be like heading into the offseason, like, oh, well, his last game, he actually had 110 yards. I'm liking what I'm seeing from him instead of looking for the whole season. But all that being said, I like Ricky. I think he's going to do good. I'm buying on him. I'm banking on him. If the 49ers are doing good this year with a kind of depleted wide receiver room already, then imagine a full off season being healthy. And if they can get Brandon Ayuk out, then I think that's going to bode very well for my boy Ricky.
I love it, man. I want to throw out an honorable mention. Just one more before we move into the news, because he's not on a top 3 list for me, but I got to throw this honorable mention out there, considering the fact he played good enough that they just picked up his 5th-year option. Can we talk about Bryce Young for a second? Now, let me just put the numbers out there. Year 1, 2023, rookie season. 2,877 yards, 11 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. 2024, we remember, he got benched that season. 2,403 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. But in 2025, his best season yet. Still missed a game. He only played 16 regular season games. Over 3,000 yards, 3,011, 23 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. 6 game-winning drives this year. That's incredible by Bryce Young. This was the first time that the Panthers have won the NFC South in a decade. Yes, at 8-9. But still, over 200 rushing yards for 2 touchdowns on the season for him. A near victory against the formidable Rams opponent, who should have absolutely squashed them like a bug. But they didn't. 34-31. Close loss, with Young putting up nearly 300 total yards and 2 touchdowns in his first playoff loss. Overall, I believe he deserves a second look, a second chance in all of our hearts going into 2026. I think in order for him to finally prove that he's the guy for this Panther squad for the next 4 years and get that second contract with them, he's going to have to put up better numbers next season. And I'm talking somewhere around 4,000 total yards, passing and rushing, nearly over 30 total touchdowns. That's, again, passing and rushing, and 11 or less interceptions. Why those numbers? Because in recent memory, we know that players like Jalen Hurts and Baker Mayfield got their second contracts. Well, yeah, Baker Mayfield, he had a couple of 1-year deals. But Baker Mayfield and Jalen Hurts, that's the type of season that they had to get their second, their first really big contract. Over 4,000 total yards on the ground and passing together, over 30 total touchdowns and 11 or less interceptions. So if he can achieve this, he will have 100% proven to everyone, or should have at least, that he's deserving of a long-term contract in Carolina. He played his best season this season. Went to the playoffs in a terrible NFC South division, yes, but they're always bad. Had a lot of good stuff. And listen, he's backed by Carolina because they're giving him $27 million guaranteed going into this next season. It's a prove-it year for him. It's a prove-it year, and if he can do it, he's the guy for the next 3 or 4 years. I'm not sure if he'll be able to, but his trajectory in his career so far says that there's a chance, and I think we should be giving him it just as an honorable mention, not as a main guy, but just as
Yep.
an honorable mention. Let's give him a second look. Let's give him a second look
I
going
know.
into 2026.
Yeah, yeah, and I agree with that. I thought with him picking it up, I think it's only fair that you kind of give him that one last shot, I guess, to see if this last year wasn't just a fluke. And I know by the numbers, if you look at Bryce Young, it's like, okay, well, this is like an okay, year for I guess an average quarterback. But Bryce Young has been getting better. I mean, he set the bar very low,
Mm.
to begin his career, but with him slowly inching up and now slowly getting weapons, with Coker, with McMillan, and then now with the run game with Dowdle and Hubbard. You have the weapons, and he played relatively, in all things considered, safe football. I mean, he still turned the ball over, he still made some questionable decisions, but the fact it is the NFC South, the fact I think next year is going to be a very interesting year for that division because you have Saints, and now with Shuck being there, what looks to be their starting quarterback, we got to worry about Alvin Kamara, if they can give maybe another receiver there, after trading away Shaheed. I think if they get weapons there, the Falcons have a great defense, great offense. All they're missing is a quarterback. And Bucks, if it looks like Evans and Godwin, their production seems to be dipping a little bit. How's that going to affect Baker? Is he going to utilize these other receivers that he has? Is Ibuka going to make that step into being that next Evans or Godwin player? So that division is still going to be up for grabs. And with Carolina, I think they know what they're going to need. If Chuba's going to be that big. Hopefully this year just was a down year for him, even though he still had a decent year. I think Bryce Young, you pick up that 5th-year option. I think you kind of owe it to him to get you to winning that NFC South title, and honestly, probably should have won that the game against the Rams. Very, very great competitive game on that. So, we're going to see if they're going to make any more decisions. Are they going to give him more weapons? Are they going to do more side on the defensive side? Or what are they going to do to try to get Bryce Young? And hopefully, I don't think they will extend him in the grand scheme of things. If I were to bet, I would say that they wouldn't. But it comes down to next year. They clearly think that he has something right now. Maybe he just needs to ride the hot hand a little bit. Have that good year, win the division, and see what you can do from there. So, I think Bryce Young's a prime honorable mention for this segment.
I love it. Are we making the case that the NFC South is actually going to be good next year, or that it's still going to suck and somebody just has to win the suck contest?
I think
Whoa.
it's gonna suck, but I don't think it's. I think it's gonna be way more competitive. I think you have 3 teams being 8 and 9, or whatever it was, um,
Yeah,
to
three-way tie at
to
eight
get
and
there.
nine.
I
Yeah.
think, yeah. I think we'll have a similar situation, but I think it's still gonna be competitive. I still think it'll very, um, it'll be competitive. So, it'll probably hover around those same records. I don't see any of the teams, probably getting. I think at most 10 wins, would likely be the scenario for whoever wins that division.
Love it. Love it.